So yesterday evening, President Trump ordered the U.S. military to execute large-scale operations targeting Houthi-controlled sites across Yemen. Now, the assault was a coordinated effort involving air and naval forces striking dozens of strategic locations such as radar installations, air defense systems, missile and drone launch sites, and military bases in cities like Sana'a, Sa'ada, Hajjah, Damar, Marib, Taiz, and Al Baida. According to the Houthis, some of these strikes hit residential areas, with Sana'a residents reporting explosions so powerful they felt like earthquakes. The operation largely originated from the USS Harry S. Truman, a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier stationed in the Red Sea. From its deck, FA-18 Super Hornet fighter jets took flight, and they were likely armed with Joint Direct Attack Munitions, or JDAMs, with kits that turn those unguided bombs into GPS-guided smart weapons. Alongside them, the U.S. Air Force deployed MQ-9 Reaper drones. The Navy also unleashed firepower from the USS Georgia, an Ohio-class guided missile submarine which fired Tomahawk missiles. And then all of this was supported by EA-18G Growlers from the USS Harry S. Truman, which are specialized in electronic warfare, thus jamming Houthi radar and communications to ensure the strikes hit home. Now, this formidable mix of assets is delivered what the Pentagon is calling a precision blow to Houthi infrastructure. President Trump announced the operation on Truth Social, declaring, quote, "Today I have ordered the United States military to launch decisive and powerful military action against the Houthi terrorists in Yemen." He then highlighted the use of overwhelming lethal force to protect American shipping, naval assets, and Red Sea navigation, and then followed that with a stark warning to the Houthis and their chief sponsor, Iran, to cease support or face dire consequences. Now, this is the most significant U.S. military action in the Middle East since Trump took office back in January. Now, Houthi-run sources claim between 9 and 32 fatalities with up to 101 injuries, including allegations of civilian casualties, including women and children. But U.S. Central Command has not confirmed these numbers and is sticking to its precision narrative. Houthi leaders have vowed retaliation, insisting their actions support Gaza, not global trade disruption, and Iran's foreign minister denounced the strikes as a breach of international law, while the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps hinted at a decisive and destructive response if pushed any further. Russia has urged de-escalation, and Israel was pre-notified of the operation but remains silent publicly. So, how did we get to this point here? Well, Yemen's civil war erupted back in 2014 when the Houthis, a Zaidi Shia faction backed by Iran, captured Sana'a and then ousted the recognized government. Since 2015, a Saudi-led coalition supported by the US has fought to contain them, devastating Yemen in the process and making it the Arab world's most poor nation at this point. The conflict escalated globally in late 2023 after the Hamas attack on Israel ignited the Gaza war. The Houthis began targeting Red Sea ships tied to Israel, the US, and the United Kingdom, launching over 100 missiles and drone attacks, sinking 2 vessels, killing 4 sailors, and disrupting trade routes. The Biden administration responded with limited strikes, but a Gaza ceasefire in January of 2025 paused those hostilities. That is until Israel's recent aid blockade, prompting fresh Houthi threats, triggering what is now Trump's response. So, what lies ahead? Well, for the United States, this operation aligns with Trump's peace through strength doctrine to deter Houthi attacks and pressure Iran. Success here could secure trade lines, but escalation risks entangling America in a conflict Trump pledged to avoid. While Houthi capabilities might weaken, their flexibility suggests a prolonged fight, as terrorist groups tend to have a remarkable resiliency in the face of a major world power using just airstrikes. Iran now must decide whether to bolster its proxy, risking U.S. retaliation, or maybe they just retreat, potentially undermining its regional influence amid nuclear talks. The big thing here is Iran has its own domestic issues to deal with. The U.S. also must decide what the limit is for these attacks, as they are quite costly and they may not be as effective as ground forces. And the Trump administration has absolutely said that there will be no U.S. assets on ground in these regions. Now, the broader Middle East is on edge. Saudi Arabia may welcome Houthi setbacks because they are not fans of the Houthis, especially since they are Iranian backed. But the Saudis fear broader instability in the region, as well as problems with global trade because it hinges on Red Sea security. Russia and China, observing closely, could adjust their strategies if the tensions spiral, but China prefers open trade through the region. However, Russia supports whatever Iran supports, so their response is likely going to be fractured. But Trump ordering these attacks on Yemen isn't necessarily a big leap forward or any major bid to reshape Middle East dynamics. It may just be a warning to Iran that if they don't come to the table and start to negotiate over this nuclear deal or broader Middle East peace, the United States will start to destroy their proxies in other countries.